The Trump and Biden administrations used Title 42 to expel more than 2.5 million people attempting to cross the southern border from Mexico. Many U.S. Republicans wanted the measure to remain in place permanently as a tool of border control. COVID taught governments, in a way that had been far from certain beforehand, that borders could be closed or heavily restricted for extended periods with strong public support and minimal disruption to the everyday lives of most of their people. The temptation to do so in future crises, from pandemics to terrorist attacks to flows of desperate asylum seekers, will be irresistible. Even as borders reopened in the aftermath of the pandemic, pressures were growing across the political spectrum in the United States to seal the Mexican border against a rising surge of migrants from South and Central America and shipments of deadly fentanyl. Populist parties running on platforms calling for tighter borders and immigration restrictions gained ground not just in Hungary and Poland, but in Italy, Austria, Germany, Sweden, and Finland. In September 2024, following election victories by the anti-immigration party Alternative for Germany, the country reintroduced border checks in an effort to keep out asylum seekers and unauthorized migrants. Climate change is creating more opportunities for deadly viral mutations. Few health experts believe we will wait another century for a major global pandemic. In the face of such external threats, governments will be more willing than ever before to close their borders. There is, therefore, an urgent need for an in-depth assessment of the harms caused by the unprecedented closure of borders during the pandemic and the implications for the future. Unfortunately, few countries are doing the sort of in-depth independent reviews, the kind that the United States did after the 9/11 attacks, that would allow for considered judgments about the effectiveness of border restrictions during COVID, and would also assess the enormous costs paid by the millions of people whose lives were upended. Publics, understandably traumatized by their experiences during the pandemic, are reluctant to look back. But failing to do so makes it likelier that governments will feel free to impose the same restrictions in future crises. This book is an effort to examine the lessons learned from this historic experiment in closing borders and the implications for the future of borders and those whose lives straddle them.